Once upon a time, there lived a man named Chaik, who was renowned in his village for his kindness and benevolence. He was married to a beautiful woman named Adaobi, and together they seemed to be the epitome of happiness and harmony. Their home was often filled with laughter, and their union was envied by many. One fateful day, Adaobi went missing. The village was thrown into chaos as search parties were organized, and everyone, including Chaik, tirelessly scoured the surrounding forests and rivers for any trace of her. Chaik's eyes brimmed with tears as he pleaded with the spirits and the villagers, hoping for her safe return. His distress was palpable, and the villagers mourned alongside him, their hearts heavy with sorrow. Days turned into weeks, and the hope of finding Adaobi alive dwindled. The village elders performed rituals, and diviners were consulted, but all efforts seemed futile. Meanwhile, Chaik continued to grieve, his cries of agony echoing through the night, endearing him further to the villagers, who admired his undying love for his wife. Unbeknownst to the villagers, Chaik harbored a dark secret. His heart was not as pure as it appeared, and his benevolence masked a sinister truth. Adaobi had stumbled upon something that should have remained hidden. She had discovered Chaik's involvement in nefarious dealings that could ruin his reputation and lead to his exile or worse. In a moment of fear and rage, Chaik made a horrifying decision. Adaobi had confronted him one evening, her eyes wide with horror as she unveiled the truth she had uncovered. Chaik's panic turned to cold resolve, and as night fell, he led her to a secluded part of their farm under the pretense of showing her something important. The darkness enveloped them, and without warning, Chaik struck. Adaobi fell to the ground unconscious. With the efficiency born of desperation, Chaik dug a shallow grave and buried her, ensuring there would be no traces of her struggle. He returned to the village, masking his dread with grief, and played the part of a heartbroken husband to perfection. As the days passed, strange occurrences began to unfold. Villagers reported hearing eerie wails at night, and the livestock refused to go near Chaik's farm. Whispers of Adaobi's spirit seeking vengeance began to circulate, and fear gripped the hearts of the villagers. A few brave men, led by the village hunter, Namdi, decided to investigate the source of the disturbances. Armed with charms and lanterns, they ventured into the night, guided by the wails that seemed to emanate from the ground itself. Their journey led them to the very spot where Chaik had buried Adaobi. As they dug into the earth, their breaths held in anticipation, they uncovered a shocking sight. Adaobi's body lay there, her eyes wide open, filled with a terror that seemed to transcend death. Namdi's heart pounded as he realized the truth: Adaobi has been buried alive. The village erupted in chaos as the news spread like wildfire. Chaik's fod crumbled, and his cries of innocence fell on deaf ears. The villagers, driven by a mix of grief and rage, dragged him to the village square where the elders awaited judgment. As Chaik was forced to confess, the weight of his sins crushed him. His deceit, his betrayal, and his monstrous act were laid bare for all to see. The village elders, after much deliberation and consultation with the spirits, decreed a punishment that would echo through the ages. Chaik was to be buried alive, just as he had done to Adaobi. This was a rare and severe punishment, reserved for the gravest of sins. At the break of dawn, the villagers gathered in solemn silence, forming a circle around a freshly dug grave. Chaik, bound and trembling, was led to the center. The elders chanted incantations, calling upon the spirits to witness the judgment and to accept Chaik's soul as penance for his heinous act. As Chaik was lowered into the grave, his pleas for mercy were met with stony silence. The villagers began to fill the grave with earth, their faces grim with the weight of justice. The last thing Chaik saw was the sky turning a shade of red, as if the heavens themselves wept for the tragedy that had unfolded. The grave where Chaik was buried became a place of cautionary reverence, a stark reminder of the consequences of treachery and the inescapable reach of justice. The moral lesson of this story is that deceit and treachery, no matter how well hidden, will ultimately be exposed, and justice will prevail.